If the Tulsa race riots and massacre of 1921 taught us anything, it has taught us what has been stolen from us. Stolen family members, stolen property, homes, stolen farms, stolen generational legacy and wealth. So what do? My guest today has answers. Shawn Rochester, thank you so much for joining us here on Our Lives.
Thank you so much for having me.
How much are we talking about here in terms of wealth that has been stolen from the enslaved African and his descendants since they arrived here in America?
We look at from 1619 up until the present, we're talking about over $70 trillion impact in terms of the economic cost of resources taken from and denied to millions of Black people over centuries.
And what do? How do we recover?
It's really a long-term strategy that needs to be focused to have a massive impact on job creation, business formation and expansion, and capital availability and affordability across the Black community, at scale, right? There's 2.56 million Black businesses. We only have about 4% of those that have any employees, saying 1.4 million businesses that should otherwise have employees. It's a $1 trillion effect that we need to focus on closing that gap.
And what about technology? People of color are barely a part of technology, and this is a growing field and the future.
When you start talking about technology and STEM and engineering and the like, phenomenal paying jobs, the participation rate amongst Black people tends to hover between, 2 and 4%. These are high rate of growth jobs, high compensating fields. It's the type of income that's intergenerational changing, right? So we need to have a much higher participation rate.
And what about reparations? Seems like it's a bad word today.
It's strange that it's perceived as a bad word, right? The idea is if a harm is caused, you repair it. From a moral perspective, you repair it for as best you can. From a financial perspective, you seem to have unique ideas that oppose that when it comes to Black people. But one of the things we need to talk about is what's the impact for everyone? Look at the cost of the wealth gap right now. McKinsey's done their own independent work, and they're saying that if you closed it, it would generate $1.5 trillion a year in national income for everyone, right? So there's enormous benefits to developing, deploying talent, and making sure that the economic resources would be present to transform families and industries and communities, and reparations would go a long way to be able to provide those things.